it's Michaela and you're watching FunsizedStyle. So for today's video, I'm going to be sitting here answering your questions. A few weeks ago, I asked you guys on Instagram what videos you'd like to see because every now and then I like to get you guys' input on the kind of content and topics that you'd like me to discuss more on this channel. And a ton of you guys requested another Q&A, which actually really surprised me because I only did one just a couple months ago, but apparently you guys love my Q&As, and actually I love them too, just sitting down and chatting about a wide variety of topics. So I figured I'd bring you guys the content that you want to see, and today I'm going to be filming that Q&A. There are topics all over the board, so we'll just go ahead and get right on into it. There's actually quite a few questions, so I'm already warning you in advance that I am already aware this video is going to be long. So grab a snack, grab something to eat, grab a coffee, some tea, I don't care. But it's going to be a long one, but I'm excited to answer your questions and again bring you guys the content that you'd like to see. If you'd like to participate in a Q&A in the future, be sure to follow me on Instagram. It's the same as my YouTube username, FunsizedStyle. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive deep into answering your questions. So the first question is, would you like to move out on your own, or do you like living with your parents? So as you guys know, I still live here with my parents and I love living with them. I do really want my own place. It's something I've always wanted, just like anybody else. And my physical disability has nothing to do with that desire. I'm a human being. I have the desire to have a place to call my own and follow my own goals and aspirations. Having a place to call my own is one of those. But my disability, osteogenesis imperfecta, has played a part into why I'm still living here. In the last few years, there's been discussion about the state of my scoliosis, which you guys have been following me literally every step of the way. It will be a huge life change for my body and for me to endure, and it's going to be really, really hard for my loved ones to watch me go through this. And part of me living here is because I know that in a few months as I undergo this, like obviously I'm not going to be able to take care of myself for several months. You guys know I'm very independent now, and I would be able to live on my own in the state that I'm currently in, like condition that I'm currently in. I'm very independent. But I didn't want to spend the money to furnish my own place, the down payment, the rent, whatever, then have to move back home for a whole year and still keep paying rent on an apartment that I'm not living at just to keep my unit. My scoliosis journey and issues and decision making on that is really my primary reason as to why I am still living here, because like I said, I won't be able to take care of myself for many months after. It will be the biggest thing that I've ever went through physically and medically, and to be honest, we don't know what the outcome will be. We don't know how my body will respond, but being that this is basically a life-saving endeavor, I'm not in a dire situation at this moment. Several years I could be, which is why we're acting now. So it's from a physical and financial point of view that I'm still here, because I didn't want to financially spend the money, down payment, rent, whatever, at a place that I'm not going to be living at for almost a year since this surgery is coming up. You guys will be seeing this Q&A before the next scoliosis video update, but I actually have another appointment tomorrow now that COVID has kind of calmed down. Come back together and discuss like when is this going to take place, and then once we have an idea of when that's going to take place, that can give me an idea of how and when to start planning on living on my own, because it is such a big goal that I have, and I love my family. Nothing ever changes that, but again, I want my own place to call my own. I want to have my own set of rules and get out into the real world, and I know that when I get my own place, it's going to be one of the best days of my life, because there's so many people that think I can't do it. I'm just really excited, and I'm excited to move to a new city. The town that I live in right now is really small. I don't have friends here. Don't have friends that ever call me and say, hey, do you want to hang out? The one best friend that I did have that lived here recently moved. We're still best friends, but she doesn't live here anymore. I mean, my parents are here, But other than that, I have nothing that's tying me down here. I don't have anything going for myself here. In school, I can take anywhere since I go online. I do want to move out on my own, but those are the things that I'm kind of in limbo about. And then once I'm recovered from that surgery, that is going to be the first thing that I do and the first thing that I put my full energy in. And I'm really excited to show you guys the process of a person with a physical disability moving on their own. It's not something that you hear that's talked about a lot. And there are a lot of challenges and barriers and things to consider when you have a physical disability. Yes, I do. Yes, it will be coming eventually, but medical stuff is holding me back. More to come on that, but that is a huge goal of mine. And this was the longest answer in this whole video, and I knew it would be, but I really wanted to take the time to explain this because it is such a multi-layered issue. But yes, I do. How do you maintain strength and motivation? I also live with a physical disability. To be honest, I don't know anything about your situation, whether your physical disability was acquired later on in life or at birth, or what challenges that you face. I've talked a lot about this in several videos, so I'll link some down below. This physical disability is something that I was born with, and so no any different. It's not like one day I woke up and I was in this new body and lost all the physical ability that I had. The state of physical ability is something that I have. It's something I've always had. I've improved over the years strength-wise because as you get older with osteogenesis imperfecta, your bones get stronger. I've incurred less fractures. I haven't had a major fracture in almost 5 years. So that part of it, like, it's gotten easier. I still have osteogenesis imperfecta. There are still barriers that I have to overcome every day. Physical barriers and challenges that I face every day as a result of my physical disability. To be honest, since this is something that I've always lived with, it's not like in the forefront of my mind every second, like, oh, I have a disability, I have a disability, I have a disability. These are my circumstances, and everybody has a certain level of circumstances that they deal with every day. Everybody has a challenge that they deal with, and the only difference between mine and maybe yours is that mine is just more visible. But as far as how I maintain strength and motivation and positivity is because it's a choice. And I know that sounds harsh. It really is a choice. And I look at people that live their life wishing circumstances were different, and they're just so sad all the time, rather than making the best of what they've got. I've grown up in a family full of support. They've never felt sorry for me. They've never treated me differently because I have a physical disability, as them themselves have physical disabilities as well. Regardless, they've never treated me different. They've never expected less of me. But at the same time, they are aware of my limitations. We find ways for me to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. That's how. It really is a choice, and I know that God has a plan and a purpose for me, and everybody has a different journey of faith, whether they believe in Him or not. That is not for me to judge, but everyone is loved and accepted here. Truly, my faith is the foundation of my strength and positivity because I know I was created in His image. God doesn't make mistakes, and I have a plan and a purpose. Everybody deals with something. A lot of us deal with multiple things, not just one thing. I've talked a lot about that in more of my disability related videos, so I'm going to link some, but that's a quick introduction, I guess, of how I maintain that strength and positivity. But one thing that I do like to stress a lot too is I'm a real human being. I have real feelings. I am not perfect, and I have hard days. As I mentioned in the previous question with my scoliosis journey, what I am about to overcome physically and endure physically, you guys have no idea. When you see the photo of my x-ray that I will reveal the day before my surgery, you guys have no idea what I'm about to overcome, what I'm about to endure. I have no idea. There's nothing that could physically, mentally, and emotionally prepare me for what I'm going to endure. My team has already told me that this is likely going to be one of the most difficult things I've ever undergone medically. But I have a drive to live and accomplish these goals, and in order to do that, and in order to maintain longevity of life, this is something that I have to do. God isn't going to place me in that situation if He isn't going to get me out of it. He will carry me through that. That doesn't mean I'm going to not have hard days. There's going to be really hard days, and I've already been told that by multiple people, and the multiple people that have gone through this, and even people that have gone through what I'm going to go through didn't go through it to the extent that I am because of the severity of my situation. There's going to be days where I'm going to be like, This is awful. This is the worst day ever. Why is God making me do this? Why is God making me suffer? Why is He allowing me to experience such pain? But I know I'm going to come out of this and have such a story to tell you guys. I'm going to have such a testimony to share once again of God's faithfulness in my life and His purpose and plan for me in my life. And this is just part of it. I don't know why it's part of it, but as I go through it, I just know I'm going to witness His faithfulness and miracles as I walk through this in the next few months. It's going to be hard, and regardless of my scoliosis journey or not, I have hard days. I get frustrated about my physical ability or lack of, or things that might hold me back or that frustrate me when it's a place isn't accessible. Know that on camera, I'm a positive person. Off camera, I'm a positive person, but I do show you guys some of the hard moments, and I do explain some of the hard things that I've gone through, especially on Instagram. I show some really raw stuff there, and so I just want to share with you guys that as well. I love this Q&A because of how unique you guys made these questions, and I specifically asked for unique questions, and you guys followed through. Do you think COVID-19 has changed the way you think about sickness and wellness? You guys know I've made several videos about COVID-19 because I almost passed away from the H1N1 2009 pandemic, and a lot of people think we haven't had a pandemic since 1918 with the Spanish flu. Actually, the last pandemic was in 2009. I was, I guess, quote, victim of that pandemic. I've done a couple videos explaining that. I was on the news sharing my story about that. With my compromised health and the restrictive lungs that I have and the weak lungs that I have, I've always had to be cautious about illness. The simplest of illness can totally knock me off my feet, can send me into the hospital. On the other hand, though, had I not had H1N1, I think I wouldn't have thought that this pandemic isn't a big deal. And it is a big deal, but I obviously haven't gone through COVID-19, thankfully. But had I not gone through H1N1, I wouldn't understand the magnitude of the seriousness of the pandemic. I don't like some of the things that I'm seeing. Honestly, the people that are, I guess, quote, in charge of, like, counting the numbers, I don't like how they're taking advantage of the situation, because there are countless people coming out revealing the inaccurate data that is being reported of is the virus serious? Yes. Some, it is awful, and it takes their life, and I can't even imagine, because I've been in that situation. So that, I think we all need to be cautious. We need to be respectful of each other. This has taken over the world in ways that I never expected. I think as a society we need to move forward. We're stuck in this situation of we don't want to move forward. We're scared, but like the world has to go on, but like we want to be cautious of each other, and it's just this fine line that we have to walk. I'm not saying to go party like it's 1999, get in crowds of thousands of people and take no precaution and no care to the wind, like, oh, if I die tomorrow, oh well. I'm just telling you to be cautious of the resources that you're gearing towards. I'm telling you to be cautious of data, and I'm telling you to not live in fear. Nobody knows better than me. I've been in that situation. Obviously, H1N1 and COVID are different, but they are similar in some respect, and I was on life support as a result of this virus. And I'm grateful to have had the outcome that I have, and I do not take for granted that many did not have the outcome that I do. I talk a little bit about survivor guilt in the previous video that I did about COVID-19. It's something that I deal with, and I've dealt with a lot during this pandemic. But I am really encouraged at the amount of treatments that are coming out. It seems like every day now there's like a new breakthrough with treatment. Not sure how I feel about the vaccine. I don't like that they're moving at rapid speed with this thing. I understand the urgency, but when you're injecting people, you can't move at rapid speed. I definitely won't be the first to get it. Deaths are drastically declining because of the amount of treatments that is out there now for this virus. And that is so encouraging, because like back in March, they knew nothing about the virus. And when people come in and like are nearly dying, they're like, what do we do? And now we know. That is really encouraging. Sickness and wellness as a whole, my thought process on it and my awareness of it hasn't changed because of my health situations and where I've been in the past. I know how serious it can be, so that hasn't changed for me. And because of where I've been, I don't think it will ever change. It's something I always have to be aware of, but it's a fine line that I have to balance. Being aware of it and being safe and knowing who I'm being around and making sure the people that I'm around are healthy. Respect that I have to try to stay as healthy as possible, and also again not living in fear. That's kind of my take on this whole COVID thing and how I've thought about sickness as a whole. But for me, this is how we've always had to live our life, with caution with sicknesses, because of how it has affected my body in the past. The next question is all-time favorite food. We'll do a little lighthearted question. Anything with carbs, basically. Pizza and pasta are my favorite. The next question is, where do you see yourself living in the future? The first place that I want to get my apartment is in Ann Arbor. I love that city. Basically where all my support system is, all my friends are. Like I said, I have, other than my parents, I really have nobody or nothing tied here. No, like, other relationships or friends. So that is where I want to move right when I get my first place, because it's a big city, but yeah, it's like not too crazy big. But yeah, it's like where all my support system is. And I also wouldn't have to worry about changing like healthcare teams. Like I said, it's a bigger city, which I love big cities. But yeah, it's close enough to home where my parents can still go visit me and I can still go visit them. The absolute most perfect first place for me to live. The next question is, do you like shopping a lot? If so, what are some of your favorite places to go shopping? Because of the small area that I live in, there are very little in-person stores to go shop at. The only store that I really enjoy going shopping at that's still around here is Marshall. So that's in-person store. Really the only in-person store that's halfway decent, that has clothing in my size and everything like that. I do love shopping. You guys know this if you've seen any of my haul videos, but you guys know I've recently, well not recently, for a while I've been into ThredUp. I love shopping for my clothes on ThredUp. I'm a ThredUp ambassador now, which is so cool. Old Navy and TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I used to love JCPenney, but they're closing, so that's awful. I love H&M for clothing. Abercrombie Kids is one of my top favorites. So you guys can also go check out my haul videos, see what places I've shopped in the past. But to answer your question, yes, I love shopping, and it's something that I've always loved, and I think it's something that I will continue to always love. I received a few questions about marriage and kids, so I'll just kind of combine the questions of like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? So I did an entire video about this because it's probably the #1 question that I get asked. And for some reason, people love to ask people with disabilities if they want to get married or have kids. I think it's because they think that it's difficult or we can't, but that's not the case. But in my case, no, I don't want to get married or have kids. I guess if it's part of God's will for me, I guess then it will happen regardless. But for sure, no on the kids. It's never been a desire in my heart. That desire hasn't changed. I guess maybe in the future it could, but I kind of hope not. But I've done a very in-depth video as to why I don't want to have children of my own or get married, and I certainly don't want children. If I were to have children, it would be through adoption, not biologically my own. So that's my answer on marriage and kids in short. But again, check out the other video if you want more details. The next question is, which type of OI do you have? I have osteogenesis imperfecta type 3, which is the second most severe type. The most severe type is type 2, but you don't usually live past birth with type 2. And if you do, it can be for a very short period of time. And some people do have a combination type of type 2-3. It is rare, but it can happen. I know, I think one person with combo type 2-3, and they're very much alive. Type 3 is the second most severe type of OI. What makeup looks are you really into right now? I wouldn't say there's anything in specific. You guys know I pretty much go for my natural looks. I love this lip color that I'm wearing. It's by Kokie Cosmetics. It's a liquid lipstick in the shade Stunner. I wear it in almost every one of my videos. I just love it, so I'll have a link down below. I wouldn't say there's anything in specific. I have been playing with color a little bit more, as you guys saw from my Wet n Wild Pac-Man collection video, and I'm going to be doing the makeup tutorial that I did for that video. Keep an eye out for that. So I have been liking working with color a little bit, but other than that, nothing in specific really like new-wise. I just started wearing makeup again. I went several weeks, well, not several, like 2 weeks without wearing makeup because I had surgery. I could still wear makeup, but like the day after and stuff, I had like the head wrap on my head. I was just recovering, like sleeping. I obviously wasn't wearing makeup and like getting ready for the day, so it feels good to kind of be back in the swing of things and like, putting makeup on and filming and getting ready and putting on cute outfits. What do you think about people with OI in a developing country? Do you think it's harder for them? I thought this question was so well thought out and so unique. I just had to answer it. There is a Facebook page. The OI Foundation has a Facebook like private group where those with OI and their family members, like immediate family members, not like their aunts, uncles, and second cousins, but immediate family members can join. And it's like a forum to each other, ask questions, like a private Facebook group. And there's like, I don't know, 10,000 of us on there. There's people from all over the world on that page, and there are people from all over, and some are from developing countries and more developing countries, or know of somebody in a developing country with osteogenesis imperfecta, and then go on there to see how they can get resources. To answer your question, first of all, yes, it is harder. I just want to say too, like, I know most of you guys that are watching live in the U.S. I just want to say, like, to those with physical disability, OI in general, as this person asked, we are so blessed to live in this country. Our healthcare system is messed up. It's not perfect. It takes a long time to get new wheelchairs and adaptive equipment that we need, and there's a lot of red tape that we have to overcome to get what we need. But at least we have the resources. People with OI in developing countries don't have the resources that we have. They don't have OI clinics. They don't have world-renowned specialists. I'm an hour and a half away from a OI specialist, one of the best in the country, like OI specialists and researchers. People come from Ohio and Indiana to come see her. It's an hour away, hour and a half away from my home. People in developing countries don't have OI clinics. They don't have resources to the surgeries and the advancements of those surgeries to improve their quality of life, to have the routing surgeries and all these things, and to get the fancy wheelchairs that we have. My $29,000 Promobile Koala is not even a thought for those with OI that live in like Africa. Day-to-day living is like just the challenge of it. You don't even understand. In those developing countries as it is, like, they're already poor. Their government already keeps them poor. So when you have a physical disability on top of it, it's nearly impossible to survive very long because you don't have the resources that are available here in the U.S. They don't have the therapies and, like I said, the surgeries and the wheelchairs and the wheelchair assessments or the bathroom equipment. They don't have all that fancy stuff that I have that make my life easier. Others with osteogenesis imperfecta. Here in the U.S., we are so blessed with resources beyond belief. I know there's a lot of red tape within our system to get adaptive equipment. Like, I know our healthcare system isn't perfect. It's messy. It's full of red tape, and it's full of paperwork and stupid crap that's not necessary. But at least eventually we get the resources that we need, even though it takes time, because in other countries like Africa, like, there are no resources, and I know of people that with OI that live in Africa because of these pages, and it's just so sad. It's just not the technology, and just, I can't even tell you, like, I'm not saying this to, like, say that, like, here in America, we should continue to work to improve our system, because we should, but I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, people with disabilities here in America are so blessed, they have no idea. They complain about it a lot, and even I do. Like, I complain about our system, because it is messy, it is dirty, like, there's a lot of crap that I have to go through that I shouldn't have to buy the equipment that I need, but it is what it is. But then I take a step back and realize that there's people in these countries that's not even a thought in their mind. That's not even an option. But at least for me it is. So yes, it is so hard. You don't even understand. And I would imagine not a lot of them live very long either, to be honest. Because especially with those with more severe type of OI, because a lot of our health issues stem from respiratory, and there's not a lot of support there either. So it's so difficult for developing countries. For those in developing countries, like, you guys have no idea. Not even the slightest clue. Don't even have a grasp on it, because how abundant the resources are here in America. The next question is, if you could interview anyone, who would it be? I almost didn't answer this question because it's so difficult, but I felt like I didn't want to just avoid it. I don't know, because what's really interesting in me sharing my story on YouTube, it's made me realize, like, and when I started watching other YouTubers, it's made me realize everybody has a story. Those of us on social media that have, you know, a decent following on YouTube and Instagram and whatnot, we just happened to share it. We just decided to share it, but everybody has a story. No matter who you sit down and talk to, they have a story. They have something unique about their life. I don't know, like, who I would sit down and interview. So I didn't want to answer this, and I guess I'm not even really going to be answering this. I just really don't know. One thing I do love about traveling is you get to meet people from all over. I truly don't know. I don't know. Let me know in the comments who would you guys interview. I really want to share my story on Special Books by Special Kids. I can tell you who I'd want to be interviewed by. You guys know that's a huge goal of mine because I know it's such a well-known platform and it would be such a great way to get my story out there and share with the world in ways that I don't have a reach to. That's the goal of mine, of who I'd want to be interviewed by. But as far as who I'd want to interview myself, I don't know. As soon as I end this video, I know I'm going to think of something. Dang it, I'm sorry. That was so disappointing. The next question is, what's 5 things you want to experience in life? This probably isn't going to come to a surprise to a lot of you because I talk about this kind of stuff a lot. But one is travel more. I just love traveling. I have a little bit of a desire to go outside the country, but not really, because I don't know, I just feel like the U.S. in itself has so much to explore. So I definitely just want to travel more in general. I've already gone to one of my top favorites, New York City, but I definitely want to go there again, and I'd actually like to live there for a year just to say that I did it. Then I really want to be on some like big name, I don't know why I say like name brand, but like a big talk show. I love the Kelly Clarkson Show. I would love to share my story on her show, and it's one of my favorite talk shows, and I just want to be on there and share my story so bad. Like, that is such a goal. And of course, Special Books by Special Kids. Be model for a big makeup company. A few of them that I wouldn't mind modeling for would be either Benefit Cosmetics, CoverGirl. I just want to be a model for a big makeup brand. And then same goes for fashion. I want to be in like a big box store like Hollister or Target or something like that. I have a big goal. Why can I only think of 4? I'm like blanking tonight, you guys. Well, I guess I kind of named 5. They're separate, but you guys get the gist of it. I have a lot of goals. The last question in this Q&A is NYC bucket list. What do you want to see or do in New York City next time you visit? I love this question because you guys know I am going to be going back to New York City eventually. It is hands down my favorite city I've ever visited. I loved every minute of that trip, and I shared like all of it on Instagram. Because the purpose of the trip was IPSY conference, we really didn't have a lot of time to like really plan a trip. Like, we planned it, but really like do specific things. Like, we did a couple things that we wanted to do, like wear in the 9/11 memorial and museum and things like that, but we didn't really get to do a lot of other New York City touristy stuff because it was such a quick trip and it was mainly for the conference. And I totally don't regret that at all. I'm just letting you guys know like that was the purpose of the trip. I've heard like New York City has such great unique restaurants and like cool like bakeries and ice cream shops, and I'd love to visit some of those. Like, we didn't really get to go to any of the cool restaurants. We just went to wherever we could find food that was like near the conference center or like where we were headed. That we really didn't get to do a lot of shopping. Like, we went to Times Square, but we didn't really have time to like shop. I got to go into the CoverGirl store and I bought a couple things, and their stores are just huge. Like, they're 3 and 4 levels. Like, I live in a small town. Like, I'm not used to that, having like a shopping mecca. So we didn't get to do a lot of that. The lady that was working at the front desk a lot while we were staying there, like, she was so nice, and she's lived there for like 10 years or something, I don't know. And she still hasn't done everything she wants to do. There's just so much to New York City. The next time I go, I definitely want to do more of those specific things. My top thing would be Statue of Liberty. We actually bought tickets to go, but we didn't realize how far we were from the ferry dock, and we wouldn't have really had enough time to really go and enjoy it. And by the time we got back, we might have been late for the conference, and obviously, like, that was the purpose of the trip, so we didn't want to be late for that. We bought tickets, but we didn't go. Definitely a top thing next time. So yeah, those are some of the things that I want to do next time when I'm in New York City. Hands down my favorite city. I think everybody should visit at least once in their life. You truly don't get the full grasp of it till you're there. Like, if you don't like big cities though, you will not like it. But if you like big cities, you will love it. If you have a desire to go, I hope that you find a way to fulfill that desire, because it is truly like a dream come true. It is. There's just so much to that beautiful city. It's so much to do, so many cool things to see. It truly is iconic. That is everything in this Q&A, all the questions. I may have missed a few, but honestly there was so many. I tried to get to as many as I could. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. You guys asked some really unique questions, and I love that. I made sure to ask for unique ones, and you guys really nailed that. I think this might be one of my favorite Q&As, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thanks again to those that participated. and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!